So here we are with another end of the year review for a Homestead channel. 2021 is upon us. 2020 is out the door, and it's been a heck of a year.
Oh God, my brain is not working. So tired. I'm trying.
Emma did not sleep last night. She woke up at
3 a.m.
Yeah, so we're haggard. It's the day before New Year's Eve. You're actually gonna I'm gonna sit down and try to edit this one. We're done with this. So yeah, so 2020 was crazy. There was a lot of stuff going on, and while it was a little nuts, it was probably the biggest year we've had on the homestead as far as growth goes.
Yeah, finally learning the ropes and having a system.
Yeah, this was the first year where we kind of felt like we were in the swing of things and kind of figuring it out, which was pretty cool. So we just kind of wanted to put this video together to do a wrap up and talk about what kind of we thought were the biggest achievements we had over the year, kind of the biggest talking points. I won't even say achievements because they're not all good.
No, they're certainly not.
Yeah, they're just kind of like the notable things from 2020 that we kind of wanted to kind of reminisce on.
Yeah, when we review, we always like to go back and review the whole year, and these are the moments we pulled out that were kind of like, oh my gosh, you remember when that happened? Or, oh, that sucked type of moments.
Yeah, so we're just going to take you through the year, and we'll go that way. So, beginning of the year, I think we put this video out beginning of January. We had a mystery chicken that we got with our fall meat birds last year, and his name ended up becoming Stumpy.
One winter day, Jack comes in the house and goes and shows me this mangled thing, and I was like, what is that? And he's like, it's a chicken foot.
So the story here is we had this chicken, the mystery chick, and we had been trying to integrate it into the flock of chickens, and it never really went smoothly. The other chickens never really accepted him. So sometimes he would roost outside in the run, and he had a roosting bar to be on. Sometimes he would roost in the coop. Sometimes he would roost on the floor of the coop. And he never really got in with the group. And suffice it to say that maybe this was an indication of how 2020 was going to go, and we should have taken it as a warning sign. But I came out one day, and he must have had some severe frostbite because I found a chicken foot on the ground, and I found Stumpy, as he became named at that point, hobbling around the chicken coop on one leg. Well, technically 2 legs, only 1 foot.
Right. He's a pirate.
Yeah, Stumpy the pirate chicken. Unfortunately, we did take care of Stumpy. We checked on the wound and...
Unfortunately?
Or fortunately. Well, no, unfortunately, because...
Well, I mean, we took care of him.
The long and the short of it is, fortunately, we took care of Stumpy.
Fortunately for Stumpy, we let him stick around. We took care of him for a long time.
Unfortunately for Stumpy, our efforts were in vain, and Stumpy did end up passing away.
I found him in a puddle. He was still alive, but he was so ostracized from the flock, he was outside the run in a puddle after we had like a warm January day. And
there were just a lot of things
we brought
going
in,
on.
Gave him a bath, and then we said goodbye.
We cleaned him up to see if there was really anything we could do for him. We'd been giving him electrolytes and trying to bring him back, and it just wasn't happening. There was some other stuff going on. So I think as far as things that have happened on the homestead, that's still probably the weirdest.
So bizarre.
Yeah, just walking into the chicken coop and seeing a bloody chicken foot on the ground.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, that was to set the tone for the beginning of the year. So with COVID happening and the world kind of shifting into not quite survival mode, but it really made us take a good look at what we were doing on the farm. And, we were raising our own food, but we wanted to become much more self-sufficient. Up until this point, We've been getting our chickens from the hatchery. We were hatching a few out ourselves, but our genetics that we had weren't really that great. And that led to us thinking about roosters and which ones we want to keep on the farm.
Yeah, so from the very beginning of our homestead, we had this lovely white rooster, Winston, who was phenomenal. But every time we had a second rooster in the mix, Winston was always getting in fights with somebody and was always like out in the middle of the field, bloody.
The breed of rooster that Winston was a blue Andalusian, which is a very pretty breed. They have a big comb. They're a Spanish breed. And he was a great protector of the flock. But going forward into the future, if we were going to be hatching our own chickens, you know, the blue Andalusians, they're not necessarily known for their egg production. They're not necessarily known for the size of their bodies. So as far as an egg production standpoint, he wasn't the greatest choice. As far as a meat bird standpoint, like a dual-purpose bird, wouldn't have been the greatest choice either. So when Murph came along, who was a rooster that we had hatched out ourselves, he was a Buff Orpington crossed with a Cuckoo Marans and Welsummer. Yeah, so it was a Welsummer Cuckoo Marans, and then Buff Orpington hen got together, and that's what created him. He was a bigger bird, very full-bodied, and he had a really gentle disposition to him as well, which led to us thinking, okay, we need to keep one rooster around. You know, the roosters were beginning to fight. One of them needed to go. And unfortunately for Winston, despite the fact that we had him, we decided to cull him from the flock. That led to this video that we put out where we talked about what traits we look for in roosters for our flock. Because it is controversial. Some people like keeping roosters, some people don't. We like having at least one rooster in our flock because it does make us self-sufficient on reproducing our flock in the long run. But it goes well beyond, you know, just a friendly rooster or having a rooster. You know, you really want to look at, if you're being self-sufficient, especially in a year like 2020, what's the best for an all-around bird. And so that was something we really thought about in the springtime.
Yeah, and I think also we wanted to put that content out too because a lot of people just don't get roosters. Personal feeling, right? You know, a lot of people say, why do you have a rooster? Do you really need it? And also, I think roosters get a bad rap, but our rooster right now, I mean, we could let Emma in there and he doesn't even bat an eye. So I think, you know, picking a rooster and making that content was also important.
Yeah, so many people end up with a rooster from a straight run, or they buy a bunch of pullets and a rooster sneaks in there and immediately their mind goes to worst case scenario. But for us, I mean, having a rooster in our flock is a blessing overall. So that was a big thing for us for the year. This deep dive into a closer look at self-sufficiency for us, it also led to us expanding the pig operation this year. In 2019, we did 3 pigs. We raised 1 for ourselves and 2 for friends and family. This year, we decided to double that.
So 2020 posed stress with getting piglets because as soon as everything hit, it felt like everybody was looking for piglets even more so than normal. So we definitely had some initial stress with getting 6 piglets. We weren't able to get from the people we got the previous year, unfortunately, but we did end up finding some, and they came right at the end of May. And they brought a whole host of stress, these particular 6 piglets right at the beginning.
Yeah, the piglets we ended up with this year, they weren't the standard Yorkshire landrace crosses that we get from a local farm. These were pigs that had been bred through the years to be raised in confinement, which is not necessarily a bad thing for the pork themselves, but these pigs, they didn't come with the defenses that a pig raised outdoors and a genetic line that has been outdoors would come with. So when we got the pigs, you know, they were a little bit sick. They weren't in the best of health. They were a little bit underweight. What we thought were going to be 50-pound pigs came through, and they were around 25. They were a lot smaller. And we just kind of chalked it up to 2020 and said we're going to do the best we can with these.
And they ended up working out great. Also because of the state of the world, when we put the shares up for sale, we sold out in record time because it was right at the height where people started freaking out about if there was going to be pork in the grocery stores. And frankly, there wasn't for a period of time because of what was happening with all of the big pork production.
Yeah, it was right at the time when you started seeing the big plants like Smithfield closing down because of COVID outbreaks among the workers. We had all of our, you know, we had those 6 pigs sold within, I would say, a week or two of putting them up on our website. And it wasn't just through word of mouth like we had done in the past.
No.
It was people that had found us.
Random people.
Yeah, either through our website or through this YouTube channel who were reaching out and saying, hey, we'd like to buy pork from you guys. As Jackie said, in the end, it worked out really well for us. We just got the weights back on all 6 pigs, and it's a lot.
It's a lot of pork.
Yeah. We were looking at, between the 6 pigs, our hung weight was over 1,600 pounds. And that was, again, we took the pigs at the tail end of May, and we butchered the tail end of November. So the production that we had and the ability of these pigs to grow was awesome. In June, we also added some new animals to the farm that we had never had before.
Dun, dun, dun.
Those were?
Ducks. Cute, cuddly, wet,
Messy,
high maintenance, messy,
stinky ducks. Yeah, Morgan had reached out from Goldshaw Farm, and he was doing a collaboration with a bunch of YouTube channels about hatching ducks. He sells hatching eggs on his website, and he knew we had some experience hatching chickens, and he came to us and said, hey, would you like to hatch some duck eggs? And we happily obliged, not knowing quite what we were getting into. Of the 12 eggs that we put in the incubator for the ducks, only 2 hatched, and one of those 2 was a fairly rough hatching.
I had the privilege of having them in the spare room with me, and I was working from home, so I got to watch every single second of them once they started to hatch, and I very quickly noticed that one was taking quite a long time compared to the first one that hatched no problem. So on one of my breaks from work, I had to get Jack up there, and he had to save a life.
This little duckling, when we were watching it, it had gotten its foot stuck through the shell, the hole that it had made, and it wasn't making any progress. We had heard it peeping, and then it was slowing down on the peeping. They were getting quieter. So we made the call, and it's one that they tell you not to do. But I made the call that I was going to go in and essentially assist this duckling out of the shell. And lucky for us, it ended up working out. That duckling survived. It's still doing fine now. It's laying eggs. Mm-hmm. We ended up with 2 female khaki Campbells out of that hatching, which is pretty awesome. And then we later acquired a male Welsh Harlequin duck and 2 more female Pekin ducks. So on the farm, new for 2020 this year, we have 5 ducks, and we've been really enjoying using the duck eggs so far. You don't like them.
Yeah, I'm not too into the taste, but using them in baking has been great.
Yeah, we've used them in a few baking recipes. I made blueberry cinnamon rolls for Christmas Day with lemon glaze, and I used the duck eggs in that, and they came out pretty awesome. Summer was pretty normal, but as we moved into fall, we did something that we haven't done before in this manner. We've raised meat chickens before in the past, and we've always done them in chicken tractors that we moved every day. And this fall, we decided to try something new with the meat birds.
Inside electric fencing, just like we do our egg layers, and let them just free range within that area in our front yard. Jack built a wonderful Suskovich tractor. That was really the summer project, was working on that, getting that ready for them. And it worked out wonderfully. We didn't lose one of them, surprisingly, even though they would get out. And then we processed them ourselves.
Yeah.
That was a little spur of the moment. We weren't really planning that. Jack kind of pulled the trigger at the last minute on that one.
Yeah, the biggest move of the year the biggest change of the year as far as processing goes was that we normally have appointments for our birds to go off-site and be butchered. And with the new style we were doing the chickens in, where we were raising them in this electric fencing, I noticed they weren't putting the weight on as fast than when we kept them confined with the chicken tractors. So a week before our processing date for the chickens, I called the processor and I pulled our appointment essentially and gave that up. And with the state of the world the way it was, there was no way I was moving it to the following week. It was either they go that week or they don't at all. And that's what we ended up doing was we pulled the date and we decided we were going to do the chickens at home. Ultimately, the decision to raise the Cornish crosses on a fully open pasture instead of the chicken tractors and then process them at home, it paid off. These were probably the best tasting chickens that we've ever raised here on the homestead. Not only that, but our decision to get the equipment we needed to process chickens here at home instead of having them done somewhere else paid off, as the facility that we use just announced on Facebook the other day that they were closing permanently. So we would have been heading into the spring and fall next year without anyone to process chickens. So luckily for us, I had processed chickens in the past helping friends, but I'd never done a full batch of our own ourselves. And I guess I got it done just in time, because now I'll know how to do it for the spring batch that we're planning on doing this year.
So those are pretty much the big things that happened for us in 2020 here on the homestead.
Yeah, we do have some cool stuff lined up for 2021. We're hoping that the year goes a little bit smoother for us. Chickens, we're going to be expanding to 2 batches this year. So in the past, we've either done a batch in the spring or a batch in the fall. This year, we're looking to do 2 batches. We're going to have a spring batch of meat birds and a fall batch of meat birds, which is going to be pretty cool. We're looking to do a comparison between raising Freedom Rangers in the spring. As we move into hot weather, they tend to do a little bit better. And then we'll probably stick with Cornish crosses for the fall. And we're looking to come back and hopefully do a taste comparison on the 2, because we did have some Freedom Rangers from a friend, and
they were phenomenal.
Yeah, they were really good tasting birds. So we want to try raising them. Pigs this year, fingers crossed. We have a line on Berkshire Duroc crosses. We're happy to be moving from kind of a commercial pig variety to a more heritage-based pig variety. It's going to have the Duroc in there, so it's still going to grow relatively quickly, but it's going to have that dark red meat of a Berkshire in there. And we're keeping our fingers crossed that that pans out. It's not solid yet. Probably should be knocking on wood right now, making sure nothing goes wrong. But by and large, if that pans out, that's really going to be a big step up for us. Pig numbers this year, we still haven't decided.
Less than 10.
Yeah, fewer than 10, more than 6, fewer than 10. That's where we're going to leave it this year, because if there's any more than 10, Jackie will kill me.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we do have...
We're sliding out of 2020 in rough shape with our inside animals. Our older dog, Callie...
she's right down here. You probably can't see her.
Yeah, the Sunday before Christmas was coming in from outside and just started limping. Went to the vet today after just getting some basic pain meds through the Christmas holiday, because she's had some back leg issues in the past, hoping that was going to clear it up like in the past, and of course it didn't, and she has a blown, I think in dogs it's called a CCL or something, but it's basically the equivalent of the ACL in her back knee. So we're taking the let's rest it and see for about 3 to 4 weeks. Maybe it'll heal. Again, we know our odds are slim, but otherwise we're looking at, potentially a costly surgery for her. But we'll see, and we'll keep you updated, because she is our first baby. So this is be a hard choice.
Take the leg, vet. Take the leg.
No. Well, as always, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Is that what you say?
She'll get it eventually. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button down below, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.